This story takes place not far away, but further away than you'd expect, because it takes place on a plane caught between the real world and the spirit world. Deep in the forest, there is an abandoned city. When you walk by during the day, you see nothing but ruins. But you should leave by sunset, for at night, the spirits come alive, and the city becomes wild and live and teeming again. The city becomes... break. The city becomes... No! I got it! There's a spirit that resides there. A man with no face.
Is it just... Are you...
You can't see me! The man with no face. Even the other spirits feared him. He was not allowed into any of the establishments in the area. I don't know. Or, I don't know. What, like...
Yeah, no, he's not.
But, yeah, like, he was
They're
shut
all
out.
like, fuck that bitch.
Exactly. Like, he was so terrifying that even the resident spirits of the village would not let him in.
Continue. Oh my. Becky.
Turned so many pages.
He was not allowed into any of the local establishments. He was so well known and feared. One day, a human came into the spirits village and stayed past sunset, fuck you car, and watched the spirits cross the river Styx into existence in the evening, where the spirits dwelled and filled the village. She crossed over into the realm of the spirits, and much like with the Fae and what they always say with the spirits is true, you should never eat the food of their world. But her parents were trapped. They broke the rules. They ate the spirits' food and they must stay in their world. So she too chose to eat just but a small parcel of food so that she too could stay and try to rescue her parents. As punishment, they were turned to pigs and forced to work for the local witch, who had contracts and held all of the local souls captive.
Don't look at me. Don't look into
Say
my
shit
eyes.
that's like real, and then you look over at me and you're like, right?
So she began to work for the witch as well to try and win back favor with the witch so that she too could rescue her parents and they could return home. She befriended a dragon who was also enslaved by the witch. In her time there, she looked out one day and saw a spirit. Well, shit. She worked for the witch who ran I don't know. What is it? I can't think of how to say it nicely without being like, what is it? A bathhouse? Yeah, like not blatantly being a brothel. Yeah, not blatantly being like a bathhouse, but like I don't know.
It was a whorehouse.
No,
something
she
had to sex out her body.
She had to sex the turnip man.
Dicks.
The turnip man.
Everywhere.
Now that's a story I want to hear.
When he took out his dick, it was pickled.
So there is a punchline. You son of a bitch.
So the witch ran a business that all of the local spirits and even some from far away would come to visit. And as the young girl was helping out, she noticed a spirit that had not come inside. They were sitting out in the rain. She saw him and she beckoned him in to be like, no, let me help you. He came in as he was called, for he had to be welcomed in, much like a vampire. He got himself settled and comfortable, much like the other guests. Nobody noticed much difference, and the young girl went on about her business. But he wanted to help her because he had appreciated her help. I don't know if that was stupid. He wanted to help her because he had appreciated the kindness that she had showed him, unlike anything he'd ever seen before in that spirit realm. So, the one thing that all spirits love is gold. We offer food and sacrifices of gold and food to the spirits. And so they love both. And so the man with no face tried to offer the young girl gold and food, but she had no interest in such things as she was trying to save her parents. So in the meantime, he found himself forlorn, for he was not able to help the one that had helped him. So he began to offer gold and food to all of those around him, until all of the waitstaff had woken up late in the night and began to service the spirit that they found to be a guest, as they had expected, as they often did, especially with one with such wealth and ability to serve. And in return, he also wanted food. The young girl did not come back to him, and all he did was call for her, for the young girl. But instead, he found the waitstaff, who was greedy. They wanted his gold. They didn't want anything else. They didn't offer him true help. They offered the food that he asked, but nothing more. He offered them piles of gold and tricked the waitstaff until he devoured them whole, swallowed them, and he grew with each person that he ate, until he began to take up an entire room, and it was all that they could do just to keep feeding him, to hope that they didn't eat them next. He'd already eaten several of the other spirits, until she finally showed, and she force-fed him a fruit from a god that she'd been gifted, that she'd planned on saving for her parents. She offered another kindness, and he retched and just tore down the hallway, chasing after her in pain, agonizing. He was so upset. He'd helped her, and she'd helped him, and he thought that she would come to help again, and he would help her, but instead he felt miserable, more miserable than he'd ever felt, and he couldn't help but vomit black, oozing just bile everywhere in response to the gift from the god. The man with no face finally spat out every last one that he'd eaten. They were fine, but he was banished from the premises.
Are you telling Spirited Away? I was like, why is she so
Fucking eloquent, my god.
So he wanders the night.
So he wanders the night, looking for the next frog employee to devour.
Go on ahead, Megan.
Oh. That was special.
Sorry.
Megan bar mitzvah, spooky, scary. Megan's becoming boys, boys becoming men.